In page 67 of your program book, it says that Jodie Emery is the wife of Marc Emery, the infamous U.S. imprisoned Canadian marijuana activist and philanthropist seed seller. Well, it's true that Marc was infamous in certain quarters, certainly notorious, but what the text really meant to say is that he is infamously held in a prison in the United States, still held in a prison in the United States, and will not be out until July of this year for a crime that has now been legalized in many parts of the United States. I had hoped to have him here on stage with Jodie, and he would have been had our government requested, as they could have, his return to Canada to serve his sentence in Canada, in which case he would have been out on parole long ago for doing something that is commonly done all over North America and the world. So Jodie, come out and...
Thanks for not making me cry with a video of Marc speaking, too, to start. Yeah, I'm the wife of Marc Emery. I've got 7 minutes here. I'll try and make it quick. Marc Emery started his career of peaceful civil disobedience long ago here in Ontario, when you couldn't shop on Sundays, you couldn't buy nasty rap music, and you couldn't find any books or magazines about marijuana. High Times was illegal. He had a bookstore in London, Ontario, opened up on Sundays, challenged it, said, "Come arrest me," bought ads in the paper saying, "I'm buying and selling rap music and marijuana literature. Come and charge me so I can go to court, so I can challenge this law and strike it down. It's unjust." And he did that in many different ways, and Alan Young, fantastic, worked with Marc in many of those cases and helped with the literature law. Let's just fast forward. Marc moves to Vancouver in 1994. He decides that the marijuana movement, being oppressed by our government with our own tax dollars, needs money. The hippies, the heyday of sitting on the beach smoking a joint and saying hemp is awesome is over. We need money. Marc Emery is a capitalist, and he knew that through making money, through business, you could fund reform, and that's what he did through all of his activism. He fought against censorship. He had newspapers against censorship. He had newspapers against big government. He ran with libertarian parties, created the Unfreedom Party. But when he read the book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, about marijuana prohibition and how it began, he realized, first, this book is illegal in Canada, and that's insane. Secondly, we need to do something about this. So in Vancouver, BC, he started selling marijuana seeds at a store called Hemp BC. He started publishing a newspaper, magazine called the Marijuana and Hemp Newsletter on hemp paper. He ran for office. He created the BC Marijuana Party. He helped with the Marijuana Party of Canada. And he said, when you buy seeds from me, marijuana seeds that I'm going to import from Amsterdam, that I'll get from Canadian growers, you should know that your money is going to go towards ballot initiatives, campaigns, political parties, court cases, defending the people who are going to prison, and fighting prohibition in every which way possible. He started Pot TV in 2000, one of the first video streaming websites on the internet at all. $250,000 sunk into that to archive our history, our movement, the media, and everything that went on. I encourage you to go check out cannabisculture.com and pot.tv. That's Cannabis Culture magazine, which he started publishing to educate people about politics, about activism, about growing your own medicine, about medical marijuana, and how cannabis holds the cure for so much suffering, but it also holds the cure for diseases. And please go Google it. Cannabis holds the cure for cancer. THC is killing cancer cells in Israel. The movement is growing by leaps and bounds, but when Marc started, there was nothing going on, not even head shops in Canada. He changed that. He sold books, bongs, pipes, vaporizers, magazines, and the seeds. The seeds were most important. I'm at 420. That's quite a good number for us. The seeds were meant to plant the seeds of freedom and overgrow the government. A peaceful movement, not through violence, which, by the way, Mandela did use, but by using peaceful means of growing plants, feeding yourselves your cannabis, not buying it from the gangs, and knowing that your money was going towards ending prohibition and saving lives. The U.S. government did not like this. Marc sent millions of seeds and made millions of dollars and gave it all away. The Canadian police did arrest him, charged him many times, a $200 fine for seeds. He was shut down and would repeatedly open up. Marc is well documented, CNN, 60 Minutes, Wall Street Journal, Rolling Stone, many movies. You can find a lot about Marc Emery, the Prince of Pot. But what happened in 2005 was unexpected, unheard of. The U.S. government said, Marc Emery, in their press release, They had him arrested here in Canada with Canadian police on US charges, even though he never went to America. He was a Canadian citizen who paid taxes on his seed sales, ran for office, was high profile, spoke twice on the stage. Everyone knew who Marc Emery was. And the US DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, said on the day of his arrest, Marc Emery's arrest is a significant blow to the marijuana legalization movement. Drug legalization lobbyists now have one less pot of money to rely on. They didn't even mention seeds. They tried to get him to sell weed, but he didn't. That's not what he did. So when he was arrested and faced 30 years minimum, mandatory minimum, 30 years to life in US prison for his peaceful civil disobedience, we knew that was a big deal. In Canada, people were outraged. How can you extradite someone to die in US prison for a peaceful, nonviolent activity where he funded court cases and made laws change? Well, this government, the Conservative government under Harper, they wanted him gone, and they got rid of him. So in 2009, we accepted a 5-year plea deal on the condition that Michelle Rainey, who has spoke on the stage and passed with cancer in 2010, that she would not go to prison, that Greg Williams would not go to prison, but that he would go down for 5 years so that he could see the US government be overgrown. Because in 2010, when he was extradited by this Conservative government in May, down to the United States, I wore this dress on my first prison visit with him, and I have my last prison visit with him on July 4th weekend, if you can believe it, Independence Day. But that's coming up. But Marc was extradited, and he was facing this life in prison for his peaceful civil disobedience. And when he went down, his prosecutor, John McKay, Washington State, decided to advocate for legalization. Cash Heed, a police officer who helped with that case, decided to advocate for legalization. John McKay allowed me to testify at Washington State Legislature for legalization alongside him, and he was the official sponsor of Washington State's legalization bill and had Marc and I join him as official endorsers to make that happen. Colorado State's legalization happened because in 2000, Marc gave them $15,000 for medical marijuana. They overgrew. The people inspired by Marc went and drafted that legislation, and now look what's happened. So while Marc is sitting in Mississippi State in a federal prison in Yazoo City, where he has wasted away the last few lives. No, he didn't waste it. They were stolen from him. But while he's been there, he's been learning, he's been reading, he's been biding his time, and I've been doing my best in his absence to be an advocate, for run for office, to be in the news, to speak whenever and wherever I can, to whatever audience I can, to say that the human cost is unaffordable. We can talk about the billions of dollars wasted on prohibition, the billions of dollars being given to gangs, the billions of dollars of Canadian jobs that are possible that are being denied us. But I want to just bring up in my last 40 seconds about the human cost, about the children in the prison who are the lucky ones because they get to see their daddy, because they get to actually go see their father, and they try not to cry. They're trying not to cry when the school tells them prisoners are bad guys, police are good guys, and they've got to go see their father who sold weed. He's serving time. His mom is struggling. And again, those are the lucky ones who actually get to go. And let me tell you, it's hard not to cry when you see a 6-year-old turning her back to her daddy while he's lined up to get strip searched. She's trying not to cry because mom's trying not to cry, and they're going to go home and they're going to struggle and suffer. And that kid, what if she was going to go off to school and do something great, but she couldn't because her father was gone, and now they're struggling and suffering. So we cannot even calculate the cost of marijuana prohibition and the war on drugs. But thank goodness for Marc Emery, my hero, and a hero to so many others, for being the brave, bold one long ago who said, I will give my all. And he gave it all. He had $11 in his bank account the day of his arrest, and he is in huge debt right now for what he has done. But he's coming home, and our mission is accomplished in the U.S., where laws are changing even in the southern U.S. states. And he's going to come home, and we're going to get our political revenge, and we're going to legalize it here in Canada, because until we legalize it, every single day someone's life is being destroyed, and these are not bad people. These are Canadians like you, or foreigners like you. The drug war reaches all over the world. It's a cancer, and it started in the U.S. We have to kill it in the U.S., and isn't it beautiful that Marc Emery sent those seeds of freedom to overgrow the government, went down into the belly of the beast, and is coming home seeing mission accomplished down there. But a lot of work ahead, and that's what we'll be doing.